actual god. What up, Trash Fam? It's me, Praxis Descend, here to give you another slice of Star Trek pie. Except I won't be, for reasons that you will see shortly. Ignore the fact that you can see Saber Whisper there, because he's not real. What is reality, really, if we think about it? The first thing you might have noticed is the change to our layout, which was some fantastic artwork that was a gift from beloved Michael Kilburn. So everybody send Mike love for going out of his way to resource this art for us. And then if that wasn't enough, he then spent a lot of his free time editing together this wonderful spreadsheet layout backdrop. He'd made spreadsheets as well, but we just didn't ask. But so you can see now our various characters, which is just absurdly exciting. And for those of you who have not been here before, or maybe don't know how we do things here, the four of us constitute the crew of the USS Iskandar. That is me, Kath, Emily, and Mike. And we each have two characters, the names of and portraits of which you can see above and below us, which is just super exciting. They are our primary and secondary characters, so that we can still have fun role playing if someone's not on a mission or not involved in a thing, because as you know, in Star Trek sometimes the chief security officer can be sat at home twiddling his thumbs, or the chief medical officer can be fine because everyone's too dang healthy. But I'm sure Saber Whisper will fix that for me. Traditionally, of the four of us, we hot seat who GMs the game. So we have had games run by Mike, Kath, and me. Not yet Emily, but if you nag her, I'm sure she will. But for this particular arc, we, the crew of the Iskandar, are uniquely blessed by the presence of our guest GM, a Saber Whisper. So everybody thank him for coming along. Huzzah! Huzzah! If you are a regular to the You Trash crew, you will of course recognize him from Under the Sapphire Sun, but you can also find him streaming every other Thursday, where he creates monsters that are of folkloric legend, and I think they're pretty dang good. So if you're interested in the Lambton Worm, come and see him next time he streams. Aside from that, we are all very thrilled that you are here. If you do not have a lot of experience with Star Trek Iskandar, that is absolutely fine. We will try our best to keep you well informed. If you have questions, feel free to drop them in the chat, and I'm sure either we or some of our beloved Trek fans will answer those questions for you. But this is part one of Killing Curiosity, a new original stream run by Saber Whisper with very little episode knowledge that you need to catch up on. So thank you so much for listening to me ramble on. I've managed to make it this whole time without swearing. And so as my reward, I'm going to have a sip of cola and hand over to our GM for the episode to set the scene.
Yeah, odds are pretty good that there were several seconds of awkward silence, because during Praxis's introduction there, Zoom decided it would misbehave, so there ends up with massive lag. So what probably happened was she went, "Take a race, Sable," and we're like, "By your leave, Sable." Anyway, hi everyone. So we operate a system of helps and hinders, looking down to make sure we actually do still do that. So yes, we do. Great, because it's Fate. We're playing in Fate. Fate, a version of Fate anyway. I think it's a goblin hybrid of a previous version of Fate and the current version of Fate. And,
just quickly, the helps and hinders might not be working this session. Apologies.
Well, I mean, that makes my life a lot easier. But in general, we do run helps and hinders, which you accrue in multiple ways. Minor helps and hinders you accrue by hanging out in the chat and accruing trash bags. And you can spend those to have immediate minor effects. You don't have any say in how those are. The GM of the day will interpret those. Or you can send us cash monies for moderate and major helps and hinders. Major helps and hinders in particular are campaign affecting. They're things like, see that guy, kill off his wife. And that will require a conversation with the GM to work out how best to get bang for your buck. But other than that, I think we're all good. So unless I've missed something off the intro, shall we crack on?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Who just did a minor hinder? No. Well, okay. Okay, all right. Noted. So, no hinder kinder. You stay in your pens, you nasty animals.
Please, no.
We see the bridge of the USS Iskandar, and all is not as it should be. Red light predominates and various displays are flickering. Occasionally an EPS relay collapses, resulting in a spark of electroplasma, and the computer is relaying alert after alert as the ship's systems seem to be failing. There is only one person on the bridge, Captain Nadaria Than, bruised, scratched, and in a uniform scorched by plasma flashes. Her expression, always determined, seems perversely triumphant given the circumstances. She takes a breath as the computer makes an announcement. Configuration complete. Warp coils operating at 60%. Stable field generated at 2.3 Cochranes and holding. Warning. Life support power has been depleted. Estimated 5 minutes of life support remain.
Mute all life support warnings. This won't take 5 minutes.
Acknowledged.
Flood deflector shell with intermix Than Zeta. Override safety warnings.
The ship lurches violently as though struck with a weapon. 3 consoles explode behind the captain, who seems to barely notice. The computer makes no acknowledgement of the damage either, and responds only to Athan's recent command. Acknowledged. Estimated time to saturation, 23 seconds.
Maintain power priorities in program Athan Epsilon and transfer the following audio to all orbital probes. This is Captain Nadaria Than of the United Federation of Planets Starship Iskandar. If found, please return this probe to Starfleet Command, Planet Earth. I note that the crew of the Iskandar have acted on this day with distinction and the valor that have become second nature to all of them, and that my bridge officers formally objected to the action I now take. It has been my singular honor to have served with each of them. I offer my apologies to them for what I believe must be done. I regret it. I regret having to be here for it. And I regret that the Athan symbiote will not see another lifetime. Most of all, I regret that I must be an example of the limit of Starfleet's motto, ex astris scientia. For while the stars offer knowledge, it is sometimes best ignored. I have not always believed this, and while I die to uphold my standing orders, I hope that no other Starfleet officer will have to make the sacrifice I do now. Transmit. Report on deflector shell saturation.
Saturation complete. Warning. Deflector shell stability is critical. Estimated collapse in 3 minutes and 40 seconds.
Set course 037 Mach 022.
Warning. Input course will result in collision with planetary body. Course is invalid.
Override navigation safety limits. Authorization Athan Omega 3901.
Confirmed. Course laid in.
At my command to engage the warp drive, disengage all tactical shields, and reroute all power to deflect control, structural integrity, and the warp core within current parameters. Override all safety mechanisms.
Command confirmed.
Sorry, Dakar. Both did our best, but you don't always get to survive your life's work, do you? Computer. Engage.
There is not a moment of true fear in Nadaria Than's eyes as she gives the order. She does not even flinch from the sudden flare of light from the view screen as the warp drive powers up. She simply closes her eyes and is engulfed in impossibly bright flame. Roll main titles. After the main titles,
Boom.
After the main titles,
Wow.
we get a screen. I can, yeah, okay, good. Good. After the main titles, we see a familiar sight on screen. We see the Starship Iskandar docked at Deep Space Nine. We also see text at the bottom of the screen. 2 weeks earlier. Deep Space Nine is as busy a hub as ever, and in fact, there seems to be construction work going on. It appears as though the station is getting an extension of some kind. So, I briefed everyone that we would be starting with the end of some shore leave. And so you've all had a week in the Bajor system to enjoy the delights of Deep Space Nine and the delights of the planet Bajor. Since the Dominion War, I think it probably goes without saying that Bajor is now a full member of the Federation. So all Federation citizens are welcome on the planet. Deep Space Nine, of course, because it's now very much a spaceport, it doesn't necessarily offer the widest range of entertainments because there's now an entire planet everyone can just go on. But Quark's Bar is still there with the holo suites. Just the Klingon restaurant is still there. There is still a Bajoran shrine there because it was the site of many holy events, and the place is still a site of pilgrimage because they're still waiting for the return of the emissary. So it is still a bustling station, and now it is under the control of, it's under the joint control of Bajoran forces and Starfleet, but the commander is still Kira Nerys, so it is still a Bajoran station, while details surrounding Bajor's sovereignty are still being worked out with the Federation. So yeah, you've had a week. All of you have had a week to get about and do what you like. So does anyone have anything they particularly will have wanted to do?
I think Kath should go first because Kath was rude and conspired that whole thing. And
but a puppet.
I want to know what a fan's doing.
Before
okay,
that excuse doesn't wash, apparently.
Okay, although before I go any further, at any point, if I try to give the computer any instructions and you hear a voice in the background, it's my Alexa complaining.
Oh, don't worry. The It You Trash crew have histories of recalcitrant Alexas. I think there's even a GIF of that somewhere.
So I'd forgotten that might happen. Yes, so I closed the tab because I had to change computers because my desktop's complaining. Athan is taking shore leave on the planet. She has gone on a trip. Her intention was she wanted to go to the ruins of Bahala, which is going to have been a work in progress, or rather taken much longer than it necessarily needed to do, as she invited Commander Talandra to join her.
And Commander Talandra, having looked at the history, she's not a big history buff, but having looked at the history on behalf of Captain Athan, she realized that the traditional way that the Bajorans of the area would travel to this great site were to take the path that winds a certain number of times up the mountain, because it is considered an important route to take. Most people now don't do that, or if they do, they take the tourist walk, which is just the paths that have been laid out. But Talandra plotted the fact that if you take the actual route that existed, it involves a lot more climbing than it does walking. And since Talandra has a love of climbing that she inherited from her father, she offered to take Captain Athan the actual historical route, which Athan was like, oh yeah, that sounds really cool. Got to maybe 2 days in, when Athan is like hanging off the side of a rock, glaring up at the boots of her first officer going.
However, we're very careful when we go climbing up mountains with our Vulcan first officers, because bullshit might happen.
Yeah.
That's a Star Trek 5 reference, Izzy. Don't worry about it.
Oh.
Make sure you've got your, was it a rocket? Was it a
yes,
belt or
there were rocket boots. Talandra is not allowed rocket boots.
Well, luckily, it's a Vulcan who's interested in authenticity. So yeah, we're taking an actual hike the way they would have done it, but she's still bringing all the safety equipment.
Oh, yeah, that's fine.
Your communicator badges are built with gravimetric sensors. If you hit terminal velocity, you're beamed to sickbay straight away. I mean, you'll be liquid when you get there, but there'll be something to bury. You know?
Just land in front of her.
Like, it maintains momentum, so there's no helping you.
But yeah, so it's one of those where, you know, there's a lot of clips of, like, as they're going, Athan, like, explaining the history of the place, and Talandra doing, like, actual teaching. Like, she's actually going through the process of, like, checking Athan's ropes and making sure that things are done appropriately. And then sort of there's a bit where they're climbing sort of, and it's, you know, that time just before sunrise when it's kind of, everything's a bit grey, but it's not dark. And they pull themselves up to the top of the cliff. And sort of it looks like two people who might then sort of settle into an awkward conversation as they both sit down. But they sort of settle on a rock and watch the sunrise, and neither of them says anything.
And eventually they'll get into the city, but that will be days later after a lovely romp.
Well, Bajor is a very beautiful place to do nothing in. I described it in chat earlier as 50% the Garden of Eden, 50% Tibet.
And we're up a mountain.
They're a warp capable civilization somehow, but they give no indication of that, because every time you meet one, they're either farmers, clergy, or really ineffectual politics.
I mean, they're mostly warp capable because of, you know, imperialism.
I mean, yeah, they're warp capable because the Cardassians went and gave them Cardassian Jesus.
Wow, I have a lot to look forward to in my Star Trek watching.
I mean, Cardassian Jesus is Gul Dukat, so don't, yeah.
So yes, you do.
Tell me nothing else.
I will tell you.
Emily hasn't watched DS9.
Oh, spoiler warning, the planet Bajor isn't destroyed. Phase 9. It's still there, Soz. I mean, you're okay with spoiler warning the Federation wins the Dominion War?
Yeah, like,
I mean, I think we'd already spoiled
that
the main
spoiler had already got out at the point where I started playing this game.
That's fine.
So
I won't. Oh gosh.
do not worry about spoilers.
I won't. I'm not going to make you talk to a parade of me trying to do impressions of the Deep Space Nine cast. Because so many of them are dead now. It's so sad. Every time I kept thinking, this character could be in. I'm like, oh no, but they're dead now.
No, stop, just stop.
I'm stopping. Okay, so that's where our command crew go. What do you do once you get into the city? What are your plans?
Athan, while she is a history buff, she's not an archaeology buff in the same way, and I would expect that we're talking about like 5 years since Bahala's been discovered at this stage, so it's probably been quite explored, and I'd be surprised if there isn't a decent cultural center. She does like to kind of look around and see some of the stuff for herself, but she's not like, I've got to get down the hole and look at them dig up the fucking pottery. Like, she's not that kind of a nerd. So she is going to take a lot of the cultural experience and probably some of the archives, and probably quite heavily nerd out with experts there, and also exposit for Talandra's benefit about the, you know, ancient spiritual ways of the various Bajorans. And as probably as one of the newest Federation members, it's probably interesting for her, having likely recently read shitloads of briefing packages about them.
How does Talandra enjoy all this? I think because obviously there's a very deeply spiritual side to the Vulcan culture, and the Bajorans are one of the few remaining still deeply spiritual members of the Federation that haven't been stamped out of them yet by relentless federationism, relentless science.
So when she isn't sort of, like, when I say following Athan around, I don't mean like she's, you know, sort of lurking with her, but she's aware that this is Athan's trip, and she is genuinely interested in hearing Athan talk about the history. But, you know, obviously they're not joined at the hip, so there'll be some time, I think, when Athan will go and, no, you're Athan, I'm Talandra. They're not joined at the hip, but sometimes I forget which is which. When Talandra will go and find the actual, like, places that draw the faithful, particularly the quiet, empty ones. Like, Talandra is very spiritual, but she likes a lot of quiet when she's being spiritual. And I actually think that the idea of the sort of, you know, crowds of sort of Bajoran pilgrims, for want of a better word, would kind of rankle her a bit. So she's more likely to find peace by sort of going up and sitting, watching the valley, or finding a quiet place to have a cup of tea or something. She's also aware that Bajoran spirituality and Vulcan spirituality are quite different.
Yes.
But both come from a place of historical awareness.
Yeah. And definitely, probably not at Bahala, but maybe even like towards the end of the trip, because Athan is a foodie. She is absolutely going to make sure that their trip to Bajor includes some good restaurants. One, with traditional Bajoran cuisine, and two, traditional Bajoran cuisine she thinks that Taladra will appreciate.
Good.
Talandra likes food.
Well, Bajor does good food. All they do is farm, worship, and be really ineffectual politicians. So roughly 2/3 of the population are farmers.
That's not true.
He's an ineffectual politician, then.
That's not true. Kai Wynn was a fantastic politician.
True, and some of them are terrorists.
Yeah.
So I obviously am wrong. I guess they're not terrorists now because there's no need for a resistance.
Yeah.
We eat a terrorist.
It's all they know. So I don't know.
Apparently terrorists are vegetarian.
Is this free range or is this a farmed terrorist? Because I'll only eat free range terrorists.
Farm terrorism would be the Cardassian occupation camps.
Whoa, yeah, that is...
I'm such a... No,
Wow.
never mind.
Industrially produced.
I was about to say, Talandra might eat that, and then I went, no, God. I'd like to go now.
We're done. Cut.
I'd like to go home.
I must say I have no ability to do a Quark impression, chat, because I don't think I could manage to do a decent Armin Shimon impression. However, for free, I will do an impression of two other Ferengi. I will give you a Quark. You can have that one free, and I'll give you a Moogie. There you go. You can have two Grand Nagai. Spoiler warning. But I don't think I can do a Quark actually. It's just weird because he's on screen more than any of the other two.
I think it's because he's the one that talks the most normally for the Ferengi. Like he actually doesn't lean into it so much. A lot of the times it's just Armin Shimmerman with a slant or with a particular...
Yeah, you could have Quark next to Snyder and they sound much the same.
To be honest, it's Armin Shimmerman with rubber teeth in his mouth.
Right?
He doesn't change his accent or put on a voice or anything. But if you hear the other two speaking, well, actually, whatever the name of the guy is who plays Zek does kind of speak like...
But that's his voice. He's got a very idiosyncratic voice. It's like he's played by Gilbert Gottfried or something.
Oh my God, Gilbert Gottfried would be an amazing Ferengi.
Yes, he would.
So the Ferengi, they always have to be really annoying for some reason. Okay, great. That's very good. That's very cultural. What about everyone else? What have we got going on?
I want to see what the sad boys are doing.
Sad boys.
Sad tag.
Okay, Emily, do you have any strong ideas?
I'm struggling to come up with any strong ideas.
That's
for
fine.
What our sad boys are doing.
In that case, I would like to introduce a comedy of errors.
Yes.
Whereby
I approve.
Strange.
Worst date ever.
It's worse than the worst date ever.
Oh no.
Casey, in this time period, hasn't quite properly adjusted to the newfound dynamic. Because it's been a very sudden shift from general...
I hate you too.
Yeah, animosity to admiration. So, Casey has been relatively distant. Perfectly, like, okay if Strange is around and direct, but doesn't seem to be going out of his way to make any time for Strange.
Okay.
And a lot of Casey's time is being spent on DS9 itself, desperately trying to book the holosuite, but completely failing at every turn, majoritively because he lacks basically the latinum, which has arbitrarily, to his eyes, been decided as the thing that is needed to buck out a holosuite. and is basically scheming to try and acquire some so that he can book out the holosuite, which everyone else seems to do perfectly fine.
Yeah, it's strange, really, because something that they never figured out in Deep Space Nine was why it was any Starfleet officer ever had latinum.
I certainly don't, because I don't deal with Ferengi, so why would I have currency?
Yeah. I always just sort of assumed there was a kind of, they had like a monthly allowance and Starfleet would just pay their tab for them. Because Starfleet must have trading resources, because the Federation doesn't use money, but everyone else should.
But other people do, so yeah.
Yeah, I'm not sure how you get rid of money. Just one of you doesn't have money. Everyone else goes, well, we're still going to. So all right. Anyway, they do it. It's fine. Okay. How is this going to happen? Are we going to have to see a bit of smuggling going on?
I think Casey is. He has learned that the best way to acquire latinum is to either is at the bar, and so he is basically presenting himself as, I am looking for opportunities to earn money, and is asking around for any such opportunities, but specifically not around Strange. Strange can't be anywhere near this, and if Strange shows up, I'm abandoning all of this plan.
I have something, and I'm going to make use of this. I don't know if an actual minor hinder happened, but I'm going to pretend the minor hinder has actually happened.
It did.
And this guy slides up to you, and I'm going to be sued for this accent, but you're looking for some latinum?
Oh, I am, yes.
Maybe you got something you can sell. I'm always looking to buy.
And I lean in conspiratorially because I don't want my boyfriend to see me doing this, but I look super shady. What kind of thing would you be interested in trading for?
Well, hey, you're a Starfleet officer, right? You don't get paid, as I understand it. So, look, I don't want to give you a hard time,
Oh, thank you.
So, what are you looking for? A few slips, a strip, maybe?
Apparently, it's 5 slips in order to buck out a holosuite. So that's all I need.
I'll tell you what. You seem like a nice guy.
Thank you.
I'll give you a strip and 2 slips. That's enough for 2 visits to the holosuite with your bow over there.
Thank you.
Just for your communicator badge.
I'm afraid that's not a transaction I can go through. I would.
Oh, that's a real shame. I hear that holosuite's got some lovely views of Paris.
Paris? I hadn't even thought of Paris.
Yeah, they've got the Champs-Élysées and so on.
I don't know what that is, but that sounds marvelous.
That's a place in Paris.
He doesn't laugh.
Awful lot of classy lovers go out there for classy dates. Champs-Élysées.
I don't...
Look, take it or leave it, pal, I mean, I'd give you a whole bar for a tricorder, you know what I'm saying? But the communicator badge, you've got it on you. They replicate those things, right? I mean, they're free.
They're free, but this
What's a few kilowatts at the replicator, you know what I mean?
You are certainly driving a bargain.
Hey, look, around here, you want latinum. Anyone else? Look, buddy, I'll be honest with you. This place is a rough kind of place, Anyone else would be trying to buy your blood.
Blood?
Communicator badge, I don't even know where I'm from, but this is how I think I'm from New York. I don't know what Paris is.
Oh goodness. I think he's going to be duped into doing this because it's far more interesting this way, and he's a sweet boy. So he does kind of begrudgingly take it off. He will do whatever you need to do to kind of no longer... This doesn't talk to the Iskandar anymore. Like, I log out of this badge. And then very kind of begrudgingly set it on the table. Not begrudgingly, hesitantly set it on the table.
Well, you're clearly a smart man who knows what's good for him. I think I heard someone call you Benny. Is that right, Benny?
No, it's Samuel.
Of course. Must have been Samuel Benny. I'm sorry, my hearing's not so good these days. I think I said strip and 2 slips, did I not?
You did, yes.
Well, here we go, Sammy boy. You enjoy your date at the Champs Elysees and
Thank you. It's not Sammy, but thank you.
Oh, no offense meant there, buddy.
No, it's okay. Thank you very much for the trade.
Cool. I'm gonna go back to my elocution lessons. I clearly need.
That's fine.
Catch you later.
Thank you. Good luck with your day.
He vanishes into the crowd.
And I'm just dumbstruck with how much I've just sinned. I'm going to be court-martialed, definitely. I'm going to be put in the brig. Oh no! I just
It is a disciplinable offense. Yes.
Oh no! Like immediate regret washes over him, and he's looking at this laudanum, and
you know, I'm going to torture you a little bit, because if you'd played hardball, he'd have given up and settled on just buying a couple of rank pips instead.
Oh damn! I could have lost those in the wash.
He's only got 1 rank pip anyway.
Oh really? Really? Oh crikey! Well,
He's only an answer.
I'm just a boy. I'm just a boy.
Tom Paris had 2, for God's sake. Gee.
Tom Paris was a lieutenant.
He had 2, then 1, then 2. It was all very complicated.
He kept losing. He kept selling them for latinum. Clearly,
Tom Paris was a convicted terrorist. Okay, who was promoted twice.
I have committed myself to the B plot. I need my comm badge back, and that will be. I accept this fate. And I welcome anyone to join this scene to watch me wallow in self-doubt.
No, but this is going to be what makes the Iskandar blow up, you understand?
Fuck, I did it all.
it's all Casey's fault. It's going to turn out that this random guy is the reason that it all blows up.
Apparently I'm from Brooklyn. I had no idea.
That was very definitely
some kind of right. Okay, I didn't even think of
New York Brooklynish accent.
It was Brooklyn.
I didn't even ask this guy's name. Oh no!
You'll find out his name later when he does the villain monologue.
I'm so bad at deviousness.
Well, you better enjoy that Champs Elysees. That's all I'm saying.
I'm slumped at the table, fiddling with these strips now torn in.
Now you're fiddling with money out in the open. Quark appears. I don't think I can do the voice. So you'll all have to forgive me. I'm not going to try a voice, because I can't do him just. The great actor Armin Shimmerman. I can't do him justice. But he's going to open with. Looks like that latinum's weighing you down.
It is rather.
Yeah, Starfleet officers never look all that comfortable holding latinum. I've got a few ideas on how you can get rid of it if you're interested.
Oh, what would those be?
Well, we're running a special offer on holosuite sessions.
Oh, no, I was going to book a holosuite with this. But I think I rather regret my choices.
It's a pretty good deal.
What's the
4
deal?
holosuite hours for the price of 2.
And this is the price of 2. How long does the deal go on for?
About as long as this conversation, Ensign.
Oh, oh no! He just gives them immediately. Oh no!
My God, man, you.
This is what Paris was trying to warn Harry Kim about all those years ago.
Izzy, you are muted, but I can see you shouting, and I get the gist.
Quark doesn't have a cold. Quark went to those elocution lessons that guy has been going to. There's a Betazoid elocutionist. She really gets in your head, you know. Nothing. Oh,
I get it.
Underappreciated in my own time. It's okay. You hand over the strip and the slips, and you're given one of those plastic rod thingies. Actually, he slides out a case of them, and each one he sort of You tap the top, and it projects a mini hologram with some details of the place that it is.
I was looking for in Paris.
Earth?
Yes.
Well, there's no accounting for taste, I suppose, but the acid rains on Ferenginar are quite beautiful.
Are they, though?
Huh. No, I suppose not. Wow, you really have made me think.
I'm sorry.
If you really want the delights of the Federation capital, then I've got Paris. We've got what's this? Champs-Élysées? Sorry, Champs-Élysées. I've never heard it pronounced by a native before, and I think that guy was a human. We never described him, but
I think I'm very taken with the idea of Champs-Élysées. Yes.
Great. Well, you've got 4 hours. Now you have to use them all up in one go. That was in the terms and conditions of the offer.
Were they?
Yeah.
Oh. Okay. That's okay. Okay. Thank you very much for your custom.
You're more than welcome. And if you ever want to drink on the house, wait for my idiot brother to be visiting. Have fun.
Thank you. And now the holosuite rod is the fixation of the weight of my sins.
I'll give you money for that holosuite rod.
No, please, no. Stand. I've got to leave. I'm overwhelmed. I can't be in this room.
We never went back to the Quark's bar again.
It's a good thing you didn't walk past the Dabo tables to try and get his money up so he could get longer in the holosuite. It could have been shenanigans.
Yes, I must flee from this establishment. I don't belong here. This isn't my world, and I've already made mistakes.
The scene of your disgrace.
I'm never going to make lieutenant.
You might have hindered it slightly. That is possible. Are you going to propose the date now?
I'm in such a deep state of being swept away with this entire interchange. I'm trying to avoid Strange, but I think that is not possible.
I feel like if you're trying to avoid Strange, that is the perfect time for you to just walk smack into him.
Yeah, this place is a fucking circle.
Yeah, exactly. So he's looking the other way, looking at some engineering stuff because he's a massive nerd, and then suddenly Casey just walks straight into the back of it.
It's like I drop the rod and I make a yelp, and then I see it's you, and I look extremely flustered. Oh, hello.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm fine. Are you all right?
Yes, I lost my communicator badge.
So I see.
I'm looking for it.
How?
I'm not entirely sure.
Okay.
Are you?
Where did you last have it?
I don't know. Not Quarks.
Not Quarks.
No. I just checked. Is why I said it in that way.
Right. Okay.
He's not laughing. This is stupid.
No, straight just laughing.
How are you? You're good? You're busy? You're keeping busy? You're probably too busy to help me, I imagine.
No, not hugely busy, so I can easily give you a hand.
Okay.
Let me just pick this up, and Strange will go and pick up the hollow sweet rod that Casey's dropped.
It just whimpers. Oh, thank you. I'll take that. That's in my possession. I'm having that's mine.
Are you sure you're all right, Sam?
Yes. I'm awfully flustered, having lost Starfleet property.
Okay.
He just kind of holds his head a little.
Okay, let's go look for your badge then. And Strange will put his arm around Casey and they'll start kind of walking off in our direction, so that at least there's something being done.
I kind of imagine as this scene, this particular shot wraps up, I'm looking up on the promenade and I see the Brooklyn guy I just sold the badge to, and I make no effort to steer our investigation in his direction.
He holds the badge up with one hand, gives you a thumbs up with the other, and then he does that coin flipping trick, and it's gone.
Oh God.
And then he walks off whistling a happy tune.
I die inside. I'm dead. You've killed me. I need a new character.
And later on,
I need a new boyfriend.
The captain's like, Casey, your comm badge was used to log into this deeply pornographic holodeck program. Now, that is a private matter, I understand, but the content does violate several Federation laws.
He's just like, I'm a pervert. I'm
Gosh,
sorry.
You'd rather admit to being a pervert than to be saintly careless with Starfleet property.
I'll wear it to my death.
What a
This is
whole
my
prediction.
greatest crime.
Okay, this is great. This was content. This is why Twitch exists.
This is what you wanted, people.
This is
This
why
is what you get for.
What's he done?
Okay, so so we'll cut the scene with you going up to the holosuites, I guess. Remembering just before you enter that you didn't bother ordering any food or drink. So when you get there, the scenario is a romantic picnic. So there's this grassy knoll, this beautiful hill with sunset over the Champs-Elysees, and there's this picnic basket that's empty. Like plates and cups and everything.
I just...
Strange will just look utterly bemused throughout the whole thing. Like, he can tell that Casey has clearly done something that may or may not have something to do with his communicator badge. Strange isn't sure whether Casey lost it in a separate instance or whether it's related to this holosuite thing being set up, but there's a kind of, I can tell you're trying, sweetie, so I'm going to go along with this.
But like he isn't. Like they've come into this beautiful Parisian day, and that he's just staring at this empty picnic basket, empty like the depths of his soul, and and like I want to hear how Strange tries to smooth this over for Casey, who is right now trying to perish on the spot.
Just trying to crawl inside that picnic basket and die.
He wishes he'd been obliterated by some malfunction, and every second that he's still alive is a waste.
So yeah, Strange is going to kind of basically look for everything else that's in this holosuite program that's actually, half decent. So, kind of focusing on the pretty sunsets, views over Paris. Let's go explore over there.
Like the moment it's like moving from this spot, which is the apex of my devastation, he'll say, "I've got to tell you something." I was trying to do something nice and it went very wrong, and we're here and it's devastatingly bad, and I get that, and I just wanted to spend... No, it's very bad.
Sam, it's not.
It's terrible. We've got 4 hours of this. It couldn't be worse. But
there's a brief flicker across Strange's face at the point where Sam says 4 hours. Strange wasn't expecting 4 hours of trying to smooth things over.
I didn't listen.
But he kind of very quickly taps that back down.
I'll start from the beginning. I'm not good with people. I'm bad with people.
Okay.
If we acknowledge this, it'll make this easier.
Yes, I acknowledge that you're bad with people.
Okay, so good. So, that includes you, and I'm bad with you because I don't really know how to do any of this. I've not had a relationship, and so all of this is new and scary, and you're the only person that's ever really had any patience and time and is willing to overlook how mean I can be. And I'm aware of that. I'm aware that I've not given you enough attention over the past few weeks, and I thought I would do something nice and I would take us to Earth. And these holosuites are a nightmare to book out, and I don't think they actually cost Latinum to book out, or I think if they do, there's an easier way of acquiring it, and I couldn't find it. Because I'm, as I mentioned, bad with people.
Bad with people.
And so I don't have my comm badge anymore.
Wait.
I am telling you as my superior officer in the middle of this terrible scene of awfulness that I have...
you sold your comm badge so that you could take me on a date to Paris.
Now you've said it out loud, I've got to admit it sounds even worse than it was in my head.
This is actually strange laughing this time. It's not just me thinking it.
He looks devastated. He doesn't know what's happening. He does kind of like a half orbit of strange, as if he's like unwell, and lifts his hands fretfully, but then stands to attention, and he doesn't know. He doesn't know how to do any of this, and so, are you okay?
I'm fine, Sam. I'm fine. And he goes and hugs him.
He kind of looks confused, but hugs back. It's still, because it's Casey, he's not quite used to physical contact, so it is, like, it's awkward and it's one-armed, but it's heartfelt.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how we fix this. I think I need to be reprimanded.
Okay. Well.
When you say that, a rack of BDSM... No. The thing that should be pointed out is that Quark's holosuites are specifically calibrated for pseudo-human interaction. No, I think a lot of the internal environments are, quite seedy. But this is a lovely picnic.
This would be, yes.
Yeah. It would be if there was a picnic.
There's a picnic.
It's a lovely hill.
It's this great hill, premium
Great hill. Great hill for us to die
Hill
on.
experiences 14 out of 10. Haven't been any better hills in your lifetime.
Oh, okay. Right. Okay. So.
Next time, I'm just going to tell you that I acknowledge that I've not been good and apologise. And I'm never ever going to try a gesture like this ever again. But I...
Just don't sell your comm badge.
Yes.
Anything else.
Okay. Yes.
Just don't try commerce.
It's not for me.
No, it's not. It's not really for me either. There are other people who know how to do that sort of thing, who are better with people than either of us.
And they're out in the bar, and they'll just take it from you. They'll just take every strip that you have.
Exactly. So, I think what we do is we work out we have to work out where your badge is gone.
Yes.
Probably starting with the person that you sold it to.
Yes. I did not get his name.
Okay.
I can describe him, although no description was given to me at the time.
Okay.
But I'm sure a handy voice from the sky would relish in giving me a description.
Okay.
You remember vividly what this gentleman looked like. He was neither unattractive nor particularly handsome. He was of roughly average height for his species.
Oh.
I mean, I'm using male pronouns, so he does seem to strongly present masculine. There's nothing I can do about that now. I've said he, so that's that. But yeah, you would recognize him. You'd be able to reconstruct him with one of those holographic identikit things, no problem.
Mm-hmm.
Can that be brought to bear in the holosuite? Can I just pull out an identikit here?
But of course, it being a quark holosuite, it will assume that once you've created him, you will want to have sex with him.
Yeah. No, you can't because you didn't pay extra for the creator studio to be activated.
That's right. I just bought 4 hours.
Your next humiliating step will be to go to station security and try to persuade them that you're the victim of a crime.
Oh God. I suppose we now have to lie to Deep Space Nine security.
Deeper and deeper he burrows.
So we have this video footage of you.
Like he's running the Orion Syndicate and he's like, I just wanted to go to the holosuite.
I wanted a date with my boyfriend.
I was the victim of a crime. They stole from me. Put up on screen. Yes, I will give you my con badge for that latinum. Thank you.
Yes, I fully consent to this transaction, my good man.
Immediately and without hesitation. Here you go.
Here you go. Please take my belongings.
I admit that is me, but
And it's me. And I did say that, but I think you'll find the mitigating circumstance.
That's out of context.
the real
Not me. This isn't on.
Have I mentioned I'm sad and gay? Does that help?
Look, here's my boyfriend. It's proof.
He's also sad and gay.
I guess.
So yeah, does Sam actually say so? Now we have to lie to DS9?
Yeah, no, that's
that was an actual.
Yeah, he believes that this is a spiral into hell, and he's fast tracked.
In for a penny.
Sam, why do we need to lie to DS9 security?
Well, because no crime was committed.
That doesn't have to have been a crime committed. We just find the person you sold it to and buy it back. And by we, I mean somebody who knows how buying things works.
The Brooklyn guy knows how buying things works.
Is there anyone we could enlist for this duty? Who's good with people?
I feel like this is the point where Smash cuts to Kantos and Burov.
Yeah, so let's give you some time to think about how to dig yourself out of this weird hole that a minor hinders.
Oh, jeez.
Star Trek.
Young Dr. Burov.
Does Izzy veto Burov going next?
Wait a minute.
All right, Arkady.
I'm sure Catherine or I can jump in if you need more time. We do have other characters. Yeah, that's legit. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Let's advance the plot.
So I'll jump in because this would probably be a thing which might affect Zal, because Vance, admittedly, he might have friends in all sorts of various different places. He's been a Starfleet officer for a while. But barring that, he is very likely to... It sounds lame to spend time with your colleagues when you're on shore leave, but you don't have friends in the places where you're going. So he is probably going to basically organize, beach sports trip for the security department. And I guess if other cool people want to come along and ride jet skis on Bajoran beaches and play volleyball to the Top Gun soundtrack.
Beach episode!
Jock beach episode.
That is superb. However, how warm is Bajor?
Well, we could. Well, to be fair, most of the humans are gonna want it to at least be nice weather for beaches.
Saul hates it. He is having a miserable time, but he is doing his best.
I'll be. We can bring down a nice kind of cool box.
A cool box.
Yeah, we'll get like a shaded area. We'll bring down, something for you can sit near ice or some sort of beach fan. Look, I'm sure we have these things. You people have to be able to holiday. Multiple species have to be able to holiday together in some way where we're not just going to make you hate every minute of it. Like a little hut.
A little.
I don't know.
A little
Look,
ice hut.
You're the one who is more likely to know than I whether or not that exists, Lieutenant. If not, we'll just get you a big hat.
A big hat. Tell me about this big hat.
It would be shady.
Where will my antenna go?
We'll put holes in the big hat.
They are the most sensitive part of my body, and you want to expose them to the sun.
We could put little caps on them.
Are we on board Deep Space Nine discussing like the possibility of it?
All right. Maybe we can find a mountain then, do mountain sports. I'm not talking full over the snow line, but like forests and logging excursions.
I appreciate this, I do. The last thing I want is to impede what seems to have been universally accepted as what would be a good time for the humans. And he rounds off a couple of other races that we might be dragging along for the sake of my sensitive Andorian nature.
Parasol, that was the word I couldn't think of.
Vance, someone bumps into you, someone knocks into you going at quite a clip. They are neither tall nor short.
Yeah, I'm checking my fucking pockets. We're on Deep Space Nine.
No, you don't need to. He does not manage to maintain his upstanding position and collapses against you, and swears and picks something up hurriedly and goes, "Beg pardon there," and scurries off. And you're slightly more than half sure that the thing he picked up from the ground was a Starfleet communication badge.
Hey, hold on there, buddy. Stand.
Been busy. See you later.
No, hang on. Right there. Starfleet security. Stop right there.
He's off. I know he's off. He's in the crowd. He's
it off after.
We gotta chase. We gotta chase this man.
Shit! And he reaches into his pocket, which might not be the most advisable thing to do on the promenade with security there watching. And he pulls out the device and goes, "Shit! It's got to be now! It's got to be now!" And he there's a flare of greenish sparks, and he beams up.
Mike, you've killed us all.
Skid to a halt. Tap my comm badge and probably just advise security on Iskandar to stand by. But I'm assuming DS9 security is going to be involved in this pretty sharpish.
Yeah, you can see a couple. You can see two Starfleet security people reporting in an unauthorized transport.
Mm-hmm.
They're requesting a trace for that.
Yeah. I'll Vance, thinking this is entirely shipboard business, is gonna head over and make sure that they have a good description of this fella.
Yep, great. Yep, you help them out. Brooklyn accent, neither tall nor short, all that.
Yep.
Tan jacket. Yeah. And they thank you for your help and leave it with the security office to see what they can find out.
So the parasol. We can keep you under shade. A lot of cold drinks. Get a little fan of some sort. There'll be some way of controlling some minor atmospheric environment. It'll be fine.
Okay.
Give it a try.
Okay. Who's going?
It's a security detail. And if, some of the engineers want to come along, that's, that. I don't think, Strange is going to come along. I would invite him, but I think, I'm sure he's going to have better things to do with his time. I don't want to get in the way of any of that.
No, that's a mess, and I don't want a part of it. What's jet skiing?
Oh, it's water sports. You're on the water on a... Well, it depends on kind of what they've got. We'll just see what we can hire out. But yeah, you'll be on high speed, being propelled along on the water surface on a board or kind of water cart.
No,
Good.
You may think you're not selling it, but you are.
No, I know I am. I thought the aquatic side would appeal to you more.
Yes.
Surfing, maybe.
Okay. No, I'm... All right. If you can arrange transport, I'm happy for it.
Oh, that'll be easy. All right. We'll have a few days. And if this is a bust, then the next time we get an opportunity like this, I guarantee we will do something cold and icy.
Thank you.
All right. I'll let station security know where I am in case they need to chase up whatever the hell that was. But if not, let's go. Team Jock are outie.
I'm currently deeply sad that this isn't an actual TV program that I can watch, because I would pay good money to see Carousel surfing.
In Bajor's temperate climate. Do you enjoy it, Zal?
I think I do.
I'm sure there's something to make it tolerable.
Yeah. I just want to reiterate for the audience that I'm an Andorian. So I like cold and I don't like not cold. That's all I know about Andorians. And yeah, I think he does. I think that there'll be a nice montage of him getting into it and them finding like odd atmospheric machinery that can make it bearable for... Because, I mean, one of my also thinkings is that Bajor isn't like a holiday destination. So it's I imagine there's a lot of make-do with current equipment and not like the luxurious Bajor holiday ports, which are near the sacred temples.
Yeah.
One of the things that they're doing, there is an extension being built to Deep Space Nine, for essentially a hotel, really, a huge accommodation pylon, so that Bajor isn't overrun. Because while it is now a Federation planet, so Federation citizens can just go down there, a lot of culturally important or sacred sites are being flooded by interested tourists, which isn't a bad thing in and of itself, but it is crowding things up. And there isn't a lot to do on Bajor. They don't have any major attractions to shove people into to distract them. So yeah, that is a problem.
I imagine we might be bringing some things from the ship, in fact, in order, like... It's like a car trip to the beach. You bring some of your own stuff.
Including food for a picnic, if necessary.
Well, yeah, of course, we're organised adults.
Plus replicate.
Yeah, that would be sensible.
Free food.
Jumja sticks.
Jumja sticks. They're very sweet, apparently. I mean, look at giant lumps of sugar, so I'm not shocked that they're very sweet. Okay, Dr. Burov, how about you? Are you ready now? Can you Dr. Burov? I think we haven't done a Burov yet, have we?
Yes, I can, Dr. Burov. And likely this is at a slightly different time, because Burov might easily have gone with them on the beach trip. Burov would quite like that. And since I imagine that leave is happening at various times.
Yeah. You're not all on. It's not all at the same time, because you've still got to do your duty betwixt times.
So I think that Burov is probably having like soaked up as much outside as they want, particularly since they're quite they're what you might call an indoor cat. So they enjoy the beach, but it's kind of like,
I have enjoyed the beach now.
That was the beach inside now. So they will have, gone and got a drink or something, and will be kind of people watching on the promenade is probably what they're in the mood for. Just they're very interested in seeing how people are, and Deep Space Nine's kind of famous, so
true.
I'll be the one to acknowledge it. This is quite an important station, and I think Burov wants to get about and look at the sights.
No, it is very important. Have you brought any crewmates with you? You hanging out with anyone?
Yeah, I mean, I'm happy to have this scene open to anyone else that feels like having a bit of people watching on Deep Space Nine. So
I feel like this is one that Kantos comes along for.
Yeah, Kantos, any of the jocks.
I want to jock it up.
Let's make this a secondaries adventure.
Yeah. Vance likes people, and the ES9 is famous.
Okay. Well, it's a great place to people watch, and there's wormhole watching. I mean, there's no better view of the wormhole than the promenade.
I think Arcady is probably walking along and has their arm slipped into Kantos's, and every now and then they'll turn to Zal or whoever's there and like so tap them on the shoulder, like look at this bit. So like they're kind of excited. They're being excitedly tactile.
They are just absorbed into this. This moment of seeing it.
Yes.
That's good. That is endearing. That will earn smiles.
Candace will probably kind of excitedly point something else out to Arcady, going, look at that over there.
See, this was where there was a showdown during the Dominion War. This, I think, was the site of a lot of fighting. This bit, I know because I've seen it from the holonovels. This bit has there are people who used to come here to see. Apparently, there is some great Bajoran religious event that happened here to do with Captain Sisko. But I don't know how sensitive it is to talk about it. But it's very interesting.
I'm so excited here. I'm sure we can talk about Captain Sisko.
Well, of course, but I don't want to talk about him in the religious context and accidentally offend some Bajorans. You know how easily offended they are.
Yeah.
You watch for a little bit, and then you all head towards the Klingon restaurant for some gach and opera.
Look, I don't care how disgusting it is. I want to try gach at least once in my life.
Well, I'm
gotta make
curious
sure
about
it's
this opera
fresh.
that I've heard so much of.
If it ain't fresh gach, it ain't. I know that sounds worse.
Come on.
Well, where else are you going to get fresh gach than from a Klingon chef?
Just depends on how long it's taken to get it from the Empire. I don't know how they're farming it.
And on your way, Dr. Borov, you sort of people watching, you're on the upper level of the promenade, you're sort of gazing down, and you're sure you see a familiar face.
What sort of familiar face?
Half a face. Or maybe I should have said a familial face, because you're fairly confident you just caught sight of your cousin Misha.
Whereabouts?
Heading towards the Bajoran shrine from the looks of it.
Maybe I'm not in the mood for gach. Maybe we should go to Quark's and have some drinks.
I got a roll on this. I got a roll.
Yep.
I'm getting my dice. I'm rolling. You better
First
roll
roll
something.
of the session. Oh, no, that's...
What if it turns out the Brooklyn guy was cousin Misha and all the stories come together?
No!
I'm going to roll... That's your character sheet. I don't need that. I'm going to roll empathy to find out what you're up to, friend. It's a garbage roll for trash people.
You get quite good.
-1.
Oh no, that is a garbage roll.
What have you all been rolling? Are you rolling
Empathy.
Borov's face or?
Yeah, we're basically doing the equivalent of an insight roll to be like,
Yeah, okay.
Does she? Do they really want to go to Quark's or?
But there's something not right with my friend here.
No, I think to Strange, it's
Kantos.
Sorry.
yeah. It's actually Cantor. Sorry. I think to Cantor, of course, Strange is too busy.
Strange has his own problem.
Awfully awkward time. I think that to Vance and Kantos, it is obvious that while Burov was going, oh no, I want to go to Quark's, they were not looking in the direction of the bar. They were looking in the direction of the Bajoran shrine for some reason.
Probably almost certainly what they notice is Kantos notices that Arcady's hand tightens on their arm, and Vance notices just how straight Arcady's spine goes. But we should get drinks. I still have quite a lot left on my drinks tab, and I know that Adina's finished theirs, so I will buy everyone a drink.
All right, do you want to get any specific seats? Do you want to sit out and people watch the promenade some more from Quark's?
No, I think maybe we could get a view of the bar and look at all of the old bottles that Quark has.
Sure, he's got a lot of old bottles.
Sure.
We should, I'm bored of this high place. We should just turn around on the spot, like ballerinas.
Okay, I rolled bad, but even that. Are you all right?
Let me tell you about my ancestor, who they say used to be a ballerina in the Bolshoi ballet, which apparently means big ballet in Russian, which I speak.
Vance is not paying attention now. Vance is scanning the promenade, but obviously is not going to see anything which might explain what the fuck is causing Burov to have a stroke or whatever.
Arcady is trying to take a different route, but also I am content to compel fate, as it were, to indicate that Arcady has not been successful in finding a different route, Sable. Because I love the drama. Arcady in this instance is not.
No.
So Arcady is trying to double back, but is also in a group of Starfleet officers, and so is a little bit noticeable.
Yes. So do you descend yet, or are you going to orbit from above?
I think the plan is to descend and then cross over to Quark's.
Well, unavoidably, the place where the ramp descends is not too far from the Bajoran shrine. And as you step down, you see this man slightly closer, and you're more sure that it's your cousin Misha. He hasn't gone into the shrine. He's standing outside it. There's some sort of plaque erected. I say a plaque, it's a whole stone fascia that's been carved with text of some kind. And he sort of reaches out and touches it and hangs his head. You haven't seen Cousin Misha for a very long time. You haven't seen Cousin Misha since you joined Starfleet. You haven't joined Cousin Misha since before the Dominion were that much of a thing. He turns, and the both of you lock eyes with each other.
Stop that.
The whole of the right side of his face is badly scarred. You're not sure what from. If you'd seen that side of him from above, you would not have guessed that he was your cousin. And he takes a single step towards you, anger flashing in his eyes, like if he had a weapon, he would be drawing it. But he stops. He turns his head half back towards the stone wall with the names written on it. And he just turns on his heels and strides away.
You know, I actually might not be hungry. I am going to go back to the Iskandar. And Arkady will let go of Cantus's arm and sort of do the walk that they do only when they are being a very, very busy doctor and not. And then you see that they go towards the teleporters back to the Iskandar and actually just go to Quarks.
Cantus is going to follow Arkady.
Yeah, I think this is a secondary character adventure. I think we all need to follow.
I think if it looks like we're all going to follow, Vance is probably going to look to Cantos and go, should we leave this one to you?
There it goes. Hang back.
All right.
Just a second then.
Sure.
Yeah,
So that we don't just all crowd Arkady.
Hey, what's wrong?
Secondary adventure.
So, yeah.
You can go rough up Cousin Misha.
We'll go fight
don't
him.
Start, but come along.
We'll hang fire.
Hello. Vodka, please.
Maybe that too, if you've still got something on your drinks tab.
2 vodkas.
Coming right up. Ryzian okay? What ship?
The Iskandar.
Enjoy.
Thank you.
Thank you. You alright?
Ryzian vodka tastes like petrol.
Yeah, it's probably better used as fuel, but oh well.
No, I
What was
just
that about?
no, nothing. You know, just sometimes I get upset looking at shrines.
Kitty.
It was my cousin Misha.
Don't think that's one you told me about before.
I don't talk about my family much. The only cousins you know about are the ones that don't live back in the old country.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the ones that went away and became engineers and artists and don't talk to the family anymore. Like me. My family aren't. They're not very happy with me. It just, I'd forgotten. I hadn't forgotten. You know how you don't forget things that upset you.
But you put them to one side and...
It was just like suddenly someone came and blew a horn in my face and said, there you go. I should say hi.
Don't feel you have to. If he's not family you've spoken to for a while, and if he's not, you're not obliged to give him your time if you don't want to.
He will say that he saw me, and he will go home, and then there will be more stories about how rude and unpleasant I am. I should at least try. We build bridges, we do not burn them.
True. But, and so.
Okay.
Don't feel obliged.
I'm not obliged, I'm Arkdyborov.
No, you are. And Cantus will kind of give a bit of a nod to Zal and Vance that, yeah, we're probably all right now.
Arkady's going to go sit on a bench near the shrine and wait.
Do you want company?
You're welcome to.
It's not what I asked.
Please.
Of course. So, and Cantus will go and sit with them.
I imagine that for me and Vance, we kind of flank it and stand like security detail.
Oh yeah, some dodgy fucker showing up.
You two should probably sit down.
I'm used to standing and waiting.
Of course, but you look very.
You look like your gardeners.
You look.
Oh, Well, yeah.
I'll compromise, and I just kind of squat.
All right, I'm going to sit down.
You squat, so you're basically kind of almost eye level with Arcady.
I'm at Arcady height now that I'm squatting and they are sitting, but I'm very low center of gravity right now. It's clearly like a martial arts squat.
Caddis, you're so tall.
For the first time, you all take a proper look at this plaque. You can't read the text from here. There's quite a lot written on it. It's very small, but at the top there is a symbol. Could you roll something?
Law?
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. I'd also accept anything adjacent. Well, I guess law is history, isn't it? But I'd accept anything adjacent to that. Or if there's a general academics thing, maybe.
That's
That's
law.
law.
Yeah, it's all wrapped into law.
Oh, that's a garbage roll.
I'm not the right character for that check.
Garbage roll. None of my characters are the right characters for that check.
-2.
-1.
-3.
Arcady, save us!
We're all pretty and or tough, but we're so dumb.
Can anyone do a tag?
This is about. I don't want to give it away by saying what you could tag, but this is about recent military history.
Sure, I probably can.
I can't flirt with this to make it give me more information. So
is it recent Andorian military history?
Can I use invoke? What's it specifically called? The scars have to be worth it, which is a reflection of Vance's military suffering.
Yeah.
Okay, let's not have a garbage roll for garbage people. Oh, that's good. Hey, that's a +3.
Nice. And what did Burov get? Actually, to be honest, Burov doesn't need to make the roll. Burov already knows this.
I didn't think I did.
Because Burov knows why your relative would be coming all the way out to Bajor. You see, the Federation won't erect any memorials to citizens who were lost after they joined the Maquis. But the Bajoran government, before it was a member of the Federation, did agree to memorialize them. And the Federation hasn't had the heart to tell them to take it down. It's just the way it is. But these are Maquis members from this sector who died either fighting the Cardassians, the Federation, or the Dominion. The vast majority of the names you would suspect are those who died following the Dominion's brutal reprisals when the Cardassians joined them.
Huh. I'm surprised that stayed up.
What has, sorry?
The memorial.
I think the Federation didn't want to have a diplomatic incident with the people of Bajor.
Understandable.
The same way that many members of Bajoran history are still lionized, even though they fought against the Federation or legitimate groups. I'm not surprised.
Well, it was a complicated situation with the Maquis.
It was.
And if nothing else, I'm not sure I'm going to have it in my heart to be too mad at anybody who decided to bloody Cardassian noses under the circumstances.
I would argue, Lieutenant Vance, that the people who made that decision did not think of the long-term consequences when they did.
No, probably not. Don't get me wrong, I wasn't exactly about to join them.
They may have bloodied Cardassian noses, but they bloodied their own noses far worse. I believe even the expression is that they cut off their own noses to spite their faces.
Fair enough. Not my corner of the world to make that kind of judgment.
Yet it is a corner that a lot of people have opinions on.
It is. Well, it was disruptive, and as a security officer at the time, it was one of the things we were always told to look out for, even in Federation space. First time I was ever having to watch our own people, you know?
I can't imagine that was easy for you.
No, but we didn't take the job for it to be easy.
Burov is holding Kantos's hand so tightly and has got a hand on Zal's shoulder, though not gripping, just...
I am doing statue is lent on.
And Cantos will just give Alcat's hand a squeeze. It's a kind of reassuring gesture.
So stupid. I shouldn't be so upset about it. It was a long time ago.
Hey. You've every right to be upset about something. Doesn't matter how long ago it was.
We all deal with these things at whatever rate's right for us.
Exactly.
I don't imagine you're the first, nor will you be the last Starfleet doctor to get upset about something.
I think we will take a break.
Oh, God.
I think we'll take a break, and when we come back, I think we'll skip ahead to the beginning of the actual
The plot.
Hang on.
Yeah, but this was great. No, I really enjoyed this. This was fantastic. And at some point, fucking, you want to buy some death sticks, guy? At some point, some repercussions may have to occur, but you won't be here for them because you're going to redacted.
Sleazebagano is someone else's problem.
Bam, Sleazebagano.
Just as a quick one, I put it in the chat, but before we go on our break, I want everyone to know that helps and hinders are working now. So feel free to engage with that however you wish.
Please don't.
Bam.
We've had enough hindrance from Casey's
We are
existence.
the hinder.
You are your own hinder. That was a great scene there, Mike. That really was. I mean, I really thought you would just, if you'd given him the slightest hard time, he'd have just, you don't want to get a Starfleet officer angry because they're tough guys,
This was Casey, who is
I'm a boy.
He's just a boy. He's like the biggest mark you could ever find.
He looked out.
And the galaxy is richer by one weird Brooklyn hood. So great. Well, we'll be back sort of 10 minutes, so at 22 the hour, whatever hour it is, wherever you are in the world, where we will begin some actual plot and find out how it is that the captain got into such a pickle.
I think we know.
It's Casey's fault.
I think we
know. It's all Casey's fault. We know.
Thank you, everybody. Bye-bye.
See you in a bit.
Today on Mike doesn't quite know how to indicate numbers with hand gestures. We are
out. No one else saw but us.
Welcome back.
It was not staying secret. All things are out tonight. So I think I was going to say let's get on to the main plot, but I think there's a plot that needs a bow tied on it, and that's the plot of this terrible crime that has been committed by Casey. So I think there are two people potentially who are going to go to Talandra, who is in charge of crew discipline, and report this incident. Which of you is going to do it?
Let's have a brief conversation about that.
Yeah.
I very much want you to do it, and I appreciate that is rank cowardice, and I should own this for my mistake.
It'll probably be easier if I explain it to her.
What about if we both went?
It's probably easier if only one of us explain. Actually, no, I don't know the full details of it, so no, you come along as well.
Okay.
But
We're both going.
We'll both go.
Yes.
Yes, that works.
So you go to the executive officer's ready room during her office hours, and you announce who it is, and Talandra says, "Come in," and just going to give Talandra her first line as you step in, as she places your comm badge on her desk and goes, "I assume you've come regarding this."
Is it his actual comm badge, or is it
his actual comm badge? Because
No.
there was a minor help, so the comm badge is
okay, let me go then. I assume you've come regarding this.
Stranger's just gonna kind of look at Casey.
Yes. I can explain, but it's not a very good explanation.
Is it an accurate explanation?
Yes. I was trying to do something nice for Lieutenant Strange, and lacking any latinum to acquire the holodeck,
I have heard enough. And to correct you, Ensign Casey, you were not trying to do something nice for Lieutenant Strange. You were trying to do something nice for Adam Strange. I am sure Lieutenant Strange would be perfectly capable of sourcing his own latinum.
Yes, Commander.
Nevertheless, you have never been one to take risks lightly. Perhaps, Ensign, I may chalk this up to a lesson learned.
Yes, Commander.
And I have signed you up for 12 hours additional service, helping Lieutenant Vance, in whose debt you are.
Yes, Commander. Thank you. That's very reasonable.
Provided you fulfill those hours to the Lieutenant's satisfaction, I am content to store this record elsewhere.
Thank you, Commander. And he doubtlessly needs to be called back to actually get the comm badge, because at this point he just wants to leave this chapter of his life.
Thing.
And so it's like a bashful / two straight backs trying to stand to attention while also shrink into a ball, grasping of the comm badge.
Does he, in trying to grab the comm badge while keeping straight back, kind of do a curtsy?
It's like a lopsided shrug of the shoulder. He nearly drops the comm badge. It kind of tinkles on the table a little. He gathers it up. He looks utterly ashamed of his existence. Replaces it. Nods. He manages a little bit of composure, but not a lot, and then turns and leaves, and the door isn't quite shut behind them before you hear him say to Adam, "Oh God."
Hey, that wasn't so bad.
Lieutenant Strange, a moment of your time.
Oh God.
Yes, Commander?
I'm not giving you your engineering blanket.
Leave. I run.
I'll see you later.
Bye.
God. Yes, Commander.
The pastoral care and emotional well-being of this crew is my responsibility. It is a task entrusted with me by Captain Adaria Than. It is my responsibility as First Officer. It is my duty as the Executive Officer to the Captain. And it has been my privilege. Please do not think that you are being singled out owing to my history with Ensign Casey.
Of course.
However,
just before you carry on, Strange is kind of visibly trying to almost shrink into his own shoes.
if Talandra could portray an expression, it would be an expression of, I see, you have his exact posture in every regard. She reaches over for her drink, though. She has her coffee, and she just takes a slow sip. However, in the chain of command of this ship, you significantly outrank Ensign Casey. I trust you are aware of that.
I am, Commander.
Given my position as the principal officer of this ship, I have gotten to know both you and Ensign Casey very well. I should inform you that if I deem this relationship to be inappropriate, it is my prerogative as the first officer to document that, and if need be, to take further steps.
Of course, Commander.
However, recent events aside, I have no reason to believe that you are taking advantage of the position that you are in.
Thank you, Commander. I am aware that the difference in rank between myself and Ensign Casey does present some challenges. So I'm trying to be conscious of that fact.
I am aware also that he has always had a particular relationship with authority, and that will be neither intimidated nor frightened of your position. I know he views you as his intellectual and societal equal. Nevertheless, it is a situation that I shall be monitoring closely.
Yes, Commander.
You are dismissed.
And Strange will just nod and flee.
And Lieutenant Strange?
Yes, Commander?
Samuel is not like others of his station. I trust you treat him with the respect that he deserves.
I will, Commander.
I will see you briefly.
Thank you.
I like how Casey's flexing on that, but what Talandra meant was he's far stupider and deserves very much.
Did you not see him?
Treat him with the respect he deserves. He's just a boy.
Not one iota more. Before we get to the drama, we cut to a scene. The camera slowly pans. We see a pair of feet that pan up to a man sitting in a holding cell, hunched over. He looks up and he says, "All right, Sammy boy, I guess it's my move next."
Oh, fuck! I've got an enemy!
Oh, God.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah.
Our first recurring villain.
Yes. This is the Iskandar's Harry Mudd.
This
This is our Harry Mudd. It's this random fucking
I'm honoured.
Brooklyn.
I'm honoured to have incepted this. That's fantastic. So yes, it's the next day after this. You have been told only this, that one Admiral Charteris is due to brief you in person. Admiral Charteris, I think, certainly Athan and Talandra will know, certainly Athan will know, is the director of Starfleet Special Operations. His remit includes anything you would get a specific task force to do. That's not necessarily top secret stuff. He's not Starfleet intelligence, but it's anything where, oh, we need to get this specific science ship to this specific location to bring this specific sample to the Daystrom Institute. Anything where it involves more than the general skill level of a Starfleet crew. And bearing in mind that the general skill level of a Starfleet crew is top notch. It was about the only whole fleet left in the galaxy after the Dominion War, to be honest. And you are told at the beginning of the day that Admiral Charteris will be arriving by runabout at 1500 hours station time. And indeed, 1500 hours comes by, and Ensign Tarek says, incoming transmission from the Katsura captain, Admiral Charteris, right on time.
Put him through, or is he requesting docking permission?
No, just incoming comms, Captain.
On screen?
Captain Athan, it's very good
Admiral.
to see you. Sorry for the unconventional means of getting in touch. I will explain everything. Just to let you know, I am ready for transport imminently. I trust everything is prepared for my arrival.
Everything's absolutely ready, Admiral. Would you rather be escorted to my ready room or the conference room?
Ready room first. Got a bit of personal business to deal with, if you don't mind. I've opted not to bring any of my staff on board with me. I trust that won't be an inconvenience.
Not at all an inconvenience, although are you going to be with us very long, Admiral?
I'm unable to discuss operational details with you, Captain.
Of course. I was just wondering if I needed staff on standby. We can discuss it once you're aboard. By all means, please stand by for transport, sir.
You will get my signal when I'm ready.
Of course.
Out.
Well, Ensign, you heard the Admiral. Commander Talandra, could you please greet the Admiral and have him brought to my ready room?
Indeed, Captain.
Because apparently I can't read him myself, but it's just polite to send the next ranking officer.
I love it. She gets to figure him out.
Mm-hmm.
I will be in my ready room.
Yeah, Talandra, you go down to the... Admiral is coming on board, so you go down with... a security escort. You've got to pipe him in. I mean, it's a big deal.
Yeah, I take a clutch of relevant people.
You get the old whistle. He beams on. Commander Talandra, isn't it?
Yes, Admiral.
Yes, good to meet you. Your records speaks very well of you.
Thank you, Admiral. Welcome aboard the Iskandar.
Benedict Charteris, it's very good to be here. This is quite a ship, quite a crew. I hope you won't mind me saying that.
I do not.
Now, much as I would love to spend a little more time getting comfortable, I would much prefer to get to business. If you wouldn't mind escorting me to your captain.
I shall. And she will fall into step with him and walk. I mean, he likely knows the way, but it's just kind of protocol to walk with him. She'll be quiet unless he speaks.
You have that Type 56 deflector array on here, don't you? That's fantastic.
We had it recently recalibrated, Admiral.
Yes, they're rolling them out fleet-wide next year, I think.
We have had no problems with it.
Good. Yeah, you go to the captain's ready room.
Sorry, Vulcans are pants at small talk.
Do you take him via the bridge, or do you take him through the second entrance?
He's walking kind of with a sort of confident air, looking at things, and he's not walking with that kind of, no, I must not end up seen or engaging with anyone.
Okay.
Can you? Am I gone silent?
No.
Oh, sorry. I asked a question.
Oh, you asked me a question. I thought you were telling me what he was doing.
No. No. I was saying, is he walking with curiosity or with brutal directness?
More curiosity, to be honest. He seems just quite pleasantly interested to be here.
then I will happily take him via the bridge, because it's a treat to see the bridge in operation. And then the officers know, and also it's a way of it's a low-key way of impressing someone. It's being like, "Sup, look at our ship. Look at all this."
When you take him through the bridge. He sort of stops for a moment and looks around it. Very good. By your leave, Commander.
This way, Admiral.
You enter the captain's ready room.
She will, of course, pick the door that puts Athan at the most dramatic angle as at her desk.
Probably the most direct one.
Thank you, Commander. That will be all.
Admiral, Captain.
Thank you, Commander.
Well, Captain Athan.
Admiral, welcome aboard the Iskandar.
Oh, it's very good to be here. May I sit?
Please, would you like any refreshments, sir?
Something sparkling.
Of the celebratory kind? Or would that be premature?
Celebratory? What do you expect me to tell you?
I don't know. I just don't tend to drink sparkling to relax.
Just the soda water will be fine, thank you.
Be fine. Soda water and a fruit juice, computer.
That's lovely, thank you. I do have some more serious business, mission business that we'll discuss with your entire senior crew once we have entered the Gamma Quadrant. Bit of a spoiler there. But actually, I've come with a bit of unofficial news. You've probably been keeping abreast of various domestic matters, Starfleet Command. Well, to be completely honest with you, there's been a bit of what you might have called a balls up, to use military terminology, which is to say that we've got about 12 admirals retiring over the next 19 months. It's all very awkward. But what it's meant is a review of our command staff. And, well, bearing in mind, I'm not saying anything officially, but I am saying something that is absolutely verifiably the case, which is when you next report to Starfleet Command, you are going to be offered a position in the Flagstaff.
I see.
Yes, apparently with so many admirals retiring, Command has decided, quite rightly in my opinion, that seniority of command is not as important as competence and suitability for the role. And your recent performance at the Galactic Peace and Reconciliation Summit, that is to say the third one that you were just attending, has convinced the Starfleet Diplomatic Corps that the rank of Commodore and a junior position heading up the Diplomatic Corps would be within your wheelhouse.
I see. Sorry, Admiral, this comes as something of a surprise to happen.
Captain, of course, bearing in mind, I'm not making you the offer of promotion, but you will certainly receive it, and I thought it was courteous, since I know you're going to receive it, to give you a little bit of notice. You have time to think. I'm given to understand that refusing the post isn't going to kill your career, but it is a remarkable opportunity for a captain of your, if you'll forgive my saying so, juniority.
No, indeed it is. It is quite early within my career for such an offer, and as you say, it would. Still, there are offers of promotion and then there are offers of promotion, and it is always good to know,
you say,
frankly, how much choice one has. So
I believe when the choice is presented to you that you will find that you have every choice in the matter. You will be placed in the Diplomatic Corps, or you will be retained in command. I can't promise that they will keep you on the Iskandar, because by the time the paperwork is done, they may have found another commanding officer for your ship. However, that's not detail for me to work out. I will say this, though. I do see your name coming up quite a lot, Captain. You have been one to watch for quite some time, and the Iskandar's recent, shall we say, exploits have caught the attention of quite a number of people in command. And I don't just talk of Starfleet, I do talk of the various Federation officers in charge of deciding who the Admiralty is comprised of. So perhaps you're to be congratulated there. I'll leave that to you. But yes, this is a slightly celebratory drink, Captain.
Of course, thank you for the advance notice, sir. So the mission to hand.
I will not be giving you full details yet, except in order to give you full details, I'm going to have to give you some orders. As I just said, we will be heading into the Gamma Quadrant.
Mm-hmm.
We are going to head into the Gamma Quadrant, into a heading I will provide with your helm officer. Once we are out of range of the nearest Federation listening post, I will provide my full orders to you. Furthermore, from the moment we depart from Deep Space Nine and give our last confirmation signal to them, you are to disable the Iskandar's transponder and all subspace communication systems, incoming, outgoing, and, I'm afraid to say, internal. It's back to good old-fashioned radio for you, Captain.
Of course, sir, though you understand I'm going to certainly want orders of that magnitude in writing.
You will receive those orders in writing. Understandably, I would prefer if you would keep them in your mission log, not in your personal log.
Of course, sir. Security is always a paramount matter, and obviously it's paramount matter for the operation as well.
It's a strange one. I'll give you that. Security is not exactly the concern here, but we'll talk more about that later.
Mm-hmm.
In the meantime, I'd be most obliged if you'd give me an hour to maybe have something to eat in my quarters and freshen up a little.
Of course. I'll have you shown to your quarters, and I'll make sure that in an hour my senior staff are ready in the conference room.
Very good. 1600 then?
1600 sharp, sir.
Very good. Thank you, Captain.
Sir? He will be given some sort of escort. Doesn't need babysitting constantly by Talandra.
He's essentially, he is going to adopt the most senior bridge ensign as his personal aide. Probably Tarek. He's probably going to be the Admiral's personal aide.
Good for Tarek.
Just strange. The Admiral could have brought his own, but he didn't.
Also be like most senior bridge
Most senior
ensign.
bridge
Look
ensign
between Casey,
is-
Tarek. Casey,
Yeah.
Tarek.
It's maybe not the most senior bridge ensign. Like maybe the Admiral takes one look at Casey and then goes, Ensign Tarek.
To be honest, probably knowing the situation, Talandra will have encouraged Tarek to be more available.
My
And encourage
fucking
Casey to be
combadge is
less
upside
available.
down.
Well, no. To be honest,
Okay.
it's not even that. Casey is science division, which is lower than the operations division in the hierarchy anyway.
Tarek outranks you.
He's picked someone in a yellow uniform.
Yeah, no, I don't blame him. They're the real
Yeah,
heroes.
you don't really pick the blue shirt for this kind of job. Nerds.
So yeah, you got some time to I don't know. You can.
If Talandra gets a ping to assemble the troops, she will. But
Yeah, that's what she's going to get a ping on. Sorry, I'm going to be brooding a bit. I've got to brood on this news. I can't tell you right away.
And is it like a all hands emergency staff meeting?
Well, yeah,
Emergency is the wrong word, but like
yeah, Commander.
a
if you gather-
non-scheduled staff meeting.
Yes, if you could gather the senior staff in the conference room at 1600 sharp for the Admiral's briefing.
Lieutenant Cantos, Ensign Casey will be needed for a briefing. An off-schedule briefing, so pass off any work that needs doing.
Hi, Commander.
We should not be so long. Ensign Brody will have the con while we're gone. I will go and assemble the others.
Yep, he wants all department heads. So by my count, that's Vance, Cantos, Strange, and Burov, as well as the captain and executive officer.
Casey reps for science, but
Yeah,
I don't
Casey.
think we have a science. I don't think we have a science officer. I think we're not a science vessel.
Oh, I've got it. I've sorry. I've got Casey down as deputy.
I
Science.
thought he's our chief science officer.
No, I'm
In the-
chief. It says I'm
Yeah. Even
You've been-
in the same way as that Harry Kim was somehow chief of operations, you know, he's our chief science officer.
Apologies, you've been promoted. In which case, you're invited.
Just imagine if Mike had gen both his characters as the deputy science officer and the deputy chief of security. Just didn't want to be in charge of any.
Anything.
I don't like Star Trek really. I just...
I thought this was Star Wars.
Son, that is not the attitude to have in this man's Starfleet. Frankly, I would take that sort of attitude. You said it diegetically, so I'm responding diegetically. Son, your compass is upside down. Now, I happened to be in Quark's bar when I saw all this go down. I'm not too happy, you understand?
I'm just crying. I'm crying. I'm immediately crying. I'm on the floor. I'm crawling.
I'll have you graded as a maintenance drone, you sick piece of shit.
I am a maintenance drone, and I'm fetal.
He puts a boot on you and says, say I'm a maintenance drone.
I do.
The Admiral's really, really hostile for no apparent.
Admiral, was that the purpose of this meeting?
You just wanted to dom Casey.
No, it turns out this meeting, it's all happening in Ensign Casey's terrible nightmare. And then he comes in and then the Admiral gathers all the officers to go, nah!
You set course, you go through the wormhole and emerge into the Gamma Quadrant. You are given coordinates, and just less than an hour later, you confirm that you're out of range of the Federation's signal buoy. And then 5 minutes later it's meeting time.
Right.
The Admiral, of course, is not, because he understands how these things work. He is sitting in a chair normally reserved for a guest specialist. He's not taken up the captain's chair.
Classy of him.
Good. It's my
Not his
seat.
ship. By your leave, Captain, may I?
Please, sir.
All right. He takes out a pad and he starts throwing up some images on the screen. You see all sorts of strange images you can't quite identify. They are hollow images of unidentifiable alien technologies, unidentifiable buildings. There are some schematics, some planetary scan results, energy surveys, and so on. These have been showing up in Federation and other allied surveys since, well, actually, I should say Starfleet, since the earliest of these. This one here was found before the Federation was formed. Our best estimate is they date back around 3 billion years. Beyond that, we have little idea of any of their function or the technology level they represent. He brings up a personnel record, a human male. This is Hans Burkhardt, a Federation xenoarchaeologist. He dubbed the implied civilization that left this technology behind the Rasenna, a classical reference I won't bore you with. Let's say that based on the distribution of sites in which Rasennan technology has been found, he brings up a galactic map that I think makes most of you sort of sit back with wide eyes. Their territory was vaster even than that of the Dominion or the Borg Collective. However, 3 billion years is a very long time. As you all understand, we know very little. In fact, such technology, well, it's all non-functional, or at least it was. As you may know, as part of the Dominion Peace Treaty, the Dominion was obliged to send over certain data, astrogation charts, planetary survey reports, and so on. In an attempt to bury anything we might find interesting, they actually opted to send us petaquads of useless information. But we are nothing if not determined, and various divisions of Starfleet combed through this information. In fact, I should say, are combing through this information. In fact, it is estimated that we have analysed only 32% of the data. And that's only the unencrypted data. The rest we're still negotiating for. Anyway, regarding the Rasenna, this information turned up something alarming. It seems that maybe 20 years ago, a Dominion probe went to a region of space, he brings up another map, called the Samperin Cluster. Unusual subspace readings. The Dominion reports describe subspace as porous in the region. Apparently, the region is flooded with high-energy tetrions. Now, Dominion shield configurations mean that it's very difficult for Dominion probes and ships to stay in the region for very long. And this is why I'm on Iskandar, because of its new deflector array. Iskandar's shields, being much more modern, have tetrion phase pulses built right into them. So it shouldn't be a problem. As long as you can keep shield power to 20% or higher, those errant tetrions ought not to bother us at all. But don't deactivate the shields even for a moment. Now, this Dominion probe, I'm afraid, got up to some... dodgy business. Maybe accidentally, we'll never know. It either encountered live Rasenan technology or, and I'm afraid this is the slightly more likely thesis, inadvertently activated it with a scan. Either way, Captain. You may remember hearing that 3 years ago, Starfleet launched 3 brand spanking new Hawking-class science ships. The pride of the science fleet. Far more advanced sensors, far more advanced shields and communications arrays, essentially mobile daystream institutes, all 3 of them. Sadly, a year ago, we sent in the Starship Chandrasekhar, and after 2 weeks, its signals stopped coming. That was 3 months ago, and we've had no contact from the Chandrasekhar since. In part, therefore, this is a rescue mission to learn the fate of the Chandrasekhar and take off what crew we might from whatever has befallen them. It may well be that it's simply their subspace radio was deactivated by the Tetron phenomenon, their shields failed, and they couldn't recover their systems. That is the best case scenario. I do not need to go into what the worst case scenario is. It being the case that we face the worst case scenario, however, it will be the Iskandar's job to complete the Chandrasekhar's mission, to determine what has become of this Rasenan technology, and, if necessary, to deactivate or destroy it. Now, I'm sure that you're all smart enough to have noticed that certain precautions have been taken for the duration of this mission. Your subspace communications have been disabled, your transponder has been disabled, which means that this mission is not to be discussed in any way. I needn't say, but I'm afraid I am legally obliged to say that a court-martial will follow any mention of the existence of this technology or this mission in your personal logs. In fact, I only really expect to see it in mission logs, and I expect those to be security restricted to Sigma 10 clearance. Is that understood?
Of course it's understood, sir. This is not the first time this ship has needed to undertake such operations.
No, of course not. Now, any questions? Please feel free to speak freely. This is the best occasion to do so.
Yeah, Admiral, I'm afraid I do have a question. We're operating in, at the very least, the periphery of Dominion territory. And whilst we have a peace treaty with them, we're a lone Federation starship heading into their territory with every look of, if they pick up that we can't call for help, they might not really care much about a treaty. We're anticipating either a Dominion run-in and any trouble if there is one?
It's a very astute question, Lieutenant, and I thank you for it. The Zamparian cluster technically lies within neutral space. However, the vast majority of the Zamparian cluster intersects 2 Dominion systems, which means there is a possible interpretation that it does belong in their space. Now, if they find us without a transponder signal and pick us up on regular sensors, I'm afraid it's espionage, and the treaty makes very clear that they have every right to destroy us without recourse to diplomatic appeal on our part.
So, what's our protocol to be then if we see a Dominion ship, sir?
Evade at all costs, Lieutenant.
Understood, sir.
I suggest you run grey mode drills.
Yes, sir.
I don't suppose your recent time with the my goodness, the Tal Shiar. I don't suppose your recent time with them furnished you the gift of a cloaking device, Captain?
No.
Yeah, might as well check.
Still. My. Our protocol is that we do not fire upon those with whom we have a ceasefire agreement.
Of course, sir.
Your captain is obliged to preserve life and limb of every soul on board this ship, and therefore I expect that if we are fired upon, we will defend ourselves as astutely as we would have done were we at war with the Dominion.
Absolutely, that will be our policy, sir.
We're Starfleet. We don't start fights. We certainly finish them. Any further questions? As frankly as you like. You've all passed the security clearance for this operation, or we wouldn't be having this conversation.
Admiral, should the mission turn out to be violently ended, if we have no means of communication, do we have a failsafe to inform Starfleet Command of our demise?
No, Commander. I can say only this. We are going with the ostensible hope of rescuing the crew of the Chandrasekhar. There will be no second rescue mission.
Understood.
I don't come here as an advocate for all of Starfleet Command decisions, except insofar as my rank demands that I be that advocate. I hope you all understand that.
Yes, sir. I assume that we will have available to us as much information on this mysterious technology, not to mention as much information on the missing ship as we can acquire.
I will give you the technical specifications of the Chandrasekhar, of course, the crew complement and so on. As for information on this Rezenin technology, that will depend on how intact the Chandrasekhar is.
Yes, of course. So obviously, Lieutenant Strange, I would like you to familiarize yourself with the Hawking class specifications and ensure that our sensors are calibrated to conduct as robust a search as possible under the circumstances of the cluster.
Of course, Captain.
In fact, so Ensign Casey, if you familiarize yourself as much as possible with this mysterious technology and also the region of space into which we will be entering.
Of course, Captain. Would that be freely available to me, Admiral?
Yes, of course. Anything you might need regarding the Chandrasekhar will be yours. Classified data will be restricted, but you will be able to access it from your personal quarters.
Thank you.
And similarly, obviously, Lieutenant Cantos, as much familiarity as you can gain of the region. I don't want us being caught unawares. Not to mention, if you consult as much as possible, Lieutenant Cantos, with Lieutenant Vance, on us making sure that we can pick as discreet a route as possible. Although I'm sure our information upon Dominion movement is quite dated in this area.
Once we enter the Samparian cluster, remember, Dominion ships will be hesitant to enter.
Mm-hmm.
They have listening posts, which is why we will need to run grey mode drills. However, their ships will not pursue us for long. Their shields will fail within minutes if they try. Any further questions at all?
Admiral.
Doctor.
Hi, Dr. Arkady Burov. We have obviously not been able to communicate with the Chandrasekhar, so we don't strictly know what has happened to them. The knowledge that Starfleet possesses of medical problems that arise in and around the Dominion is limited at best. If we come across a potentially quarantine situation and we could not in good conscience engage with the ship, what is more important? Is it my medical opinion on the safety of this crew or the information to be received from that crew?
We must, in that situation, Doctor, we must find a way to acquire the information without putting the crew of the Iskandar at risk. I was hoping this could wait until we were across the border of the cluster, but I do not believe that it can.
So?
Before I say what I'm about to say, I want to make one or two things perfectly clear. This is not a suicide mission. The reason I am standing in the briefing room of the Starship Iskandar is because the crew of the Starship Iskandar is one of the best rated in your ship class in the entire fleet. I hope that is clear.
Very clear to me already, sir.
I do not need to tell any of you in this room that you have one of the best captains there is for this class of ship in the fleet. And I do not have to tell the captain that she enjoys the privilege of commanding a very effective crew. This is proven not by only your official records, but also the personal observations that have been made by those who have served with you. That being said, though this is not a suicide mission and it is fully intended that we all come back with the crew and, hopefully, the materiel of the starship Chandrasekhar in tow, it is a very difficult mission. And there are difficulties that will extend beyond the technical, beyond even the tactical. There will come a moment when your sensors will register a high concentration of radical tetrions. Essentially, you can think of this as the border with the sector. From that moment on, all Starfleet general orders are suspended, including the Prime Directive. I have an enormous amount of respect for the way you all have just been shocked by that statement. That is because you value the Prime Directive, as do I. You see it, I hope, not simply as a law on a piece of paper, but a guiding philosophical principle that defines our behavior, not simply as officers of the Starfleet, but as citizens of the Federation. I share that belief. Remember that I said that, and apply your memory of me having said that to your opinion of the urgency of this mission, the vital galactic importance of this mission. Failure here, the word catastrophic does not begin to describe it. Because of the suspension of all general Starfleet orders, you, particularly you, Captain Athan, will be placed in an impossible position. I wish I could offer you the chance to refuse this mission. But based on everything we know of all of the crews in this region of space, certainly of this class of ship, very possibly within the entire fleet, your ship, your crew, and your command are the best chance we have of completing this mission. And I do not believe there will be any need to violate any general orders at all. As far as we know, the cluster is uninhabitable even. However, those orders are, or rather will be, suspended.
Very well, sir.
Very well, sir.
I could sit and argue and debate the point with you, sir, but we've already crossed the Rubicon on this mission.
Captain, because of who you are, I won't insult you by lecturing you about the nature of duty, you of all people. I do not believe there is an argument you could make against me that I did not already try against Starfleet Command. That is all I will say.
Yes, sir. I am sufficiently, of course, trusting of Starfleet that these orders would not be issued lightly, or to assume that those of us in this room could, within the next 5 minutes, find some justification which had not already been discussed and measured and rejected, at least at this point with the amount of information that we have. However, sir, I am going to require you, sir, to not leave my crew in ignorance unless it is absolutely necessary. And my necessity, I would rather is limited to the sensitivity of time. If my crew is not just to risk their lives, but their very principles for this mission, right now, when we have a long journey ahead of us, I think it is an opportunity for us to be as open as possible. Because not only do you have to ask this of me, sir, or even order this of me, sir, but I must ask this of my crew. There are very few grounds for which the justification could be made to suspend all general orders, including General Order 1. Why this? Why here? Why now?
Thank you for saying all of that, Captain. I respect a commanding officer who understands that within their ship, it is their orders that rule, not the orders of an admiral who is a guest. And I mean that. Thank you. In general, you must consider me an expert who is a guest on your ship. After giving these mission parameters, you shall not expect too many more orders from me, Captain. You must conduct this mission within the parameters I've given, of course, at your discretion. With regards to the suspension of general orders, it is not an order to disregard your personal ethics. We learnt the hard way during the Dominion War that those ethics, the ethics that allowed my planet, Captain, to survive what almost became its apocalypse, to become a member of the galactic community. Those values, those ethics are hard won. Certainly for our people, they were hard won. So I do thank you. Suspending these orders is for a very simple reason. Engaging upon this mission, you may be required to take extraordinary action under extraordinary circumstances. The information we received from the Dominion probe, which the Dominion do not seem to have redacted, although with the Dominion, one would never wish to bet one's life on it. And that unredacted information has produced some readings which the most seasoned subspace physicist would find alarming. I know this because I've spoken to the most seasoned subspace physicists, and they were indeed alarmed. Perhaps I do not need to speak further at this present moment.
I believe I understand, sir, so that will be at your discretion.
As you say, there are a great many reasons that these suspensions may come into play. We do not know for certain that any of them apply, but we know for certain that many of them could. In that event, because we will be cut off from communication with Starfleet Command, we must operate as if we were alone in all the galaxy. Part of the reason I am here, Captain, and not delivering these orders via subspace, quite aside from the sensitivity of the matter, is that I am a flag officer, and I am here so that when we return to the Alpha Quadrant successfully, and explanations are called for as to your conduct in this mission, I can vouch for you, and there will be nothing that is difficult to explain about it at all.
I appreciate that, sir. And I have no further questions at this point in time.
No doubt many will occur to you all. I will, if with the captain's permission, I would like to operate out of my quarters. If you could arrange for some of the more comfortable parts of it to be turned into a bit more of a ready room. I will take that as my ready room, if I may, Captain, and from there I can operate, and secure conversations can be had with anyone who might need information from me.
Of course, Sir Ensign Tarek will see to your needs in that regard.
Yes, he's been very good. If there's nothing else,
then thank you very much, sir.
I will do the courtesy, Captain, of dismissing myself and allowing you some time with your crew. With your permission, Captain, I will be dismissed.
Of course, sir.
Thank you, sir. He leaves.
Arkady immediately goes up and goes to the replicator and makes a cup of tea.
We take this all one step at a time.
Does anybody else want tea while I'm up?
No, thank you, Doctor.
I will take one. Thank you.
We have preparations to be made, which include the work immediately ahead of us, and the work which we must anticipate needs to be done once in the cluster. There is some work I need to do before I can give more specific briefings from there. Although at present I am only hypothesizing. However, I don't like this really at all. I don't like that we've been dropped in the middle of the Gamma Quadrant with our transponder off before we've learned why. I don't like that if we go missing, we are just going to have gone missing. That is something which we must accept. If the Iskandar is lost, there is a very high chance that this mission will not be reported. I'm sure that Starfleet will be anticipating our return, but we are, for most of your friends, your loved ones, your families, we will just be disappearing.
Should we survive, Captain, I would request in the strongest terms that the distinct pressure this puts psychologically on many members of the crew be documented for the necessary senior officers.
Yes, Commander, of course.
Not only for the humans, Captain, but also for yourself, who has two responsibilities.
I confess, I'm looking at this, at the mission, and the after will come after.
You understand, Captain, it is my responsibility to always be thinking of the after as regards the welfare of this crew.
I do understand, and I always appreciate it, Commander. One step at a time. We don't know what awaits us in the cluster. We don't know the nature of this technology. And whilst there is reading to be done, work to be done, we must always accept within this that there are going to be known unknowns and unknown unknowns. And these are probably going to come and smack us right in the face, however much planning we do, however much studying and preparation we do. We must be ready for that which we cannot possibly make ourselves ready. So in the meantime, one step at a time. The tasks I have set you all, the preparation to be made, and above all, no one of us is going to have the complete picture of everything that's going on. No one of us has the entire safety of this entire ship entirely and solely in their hands. So that is a personal responsibility for each of you. And that is a burden. But it is a burden that we share. One step at a time, and trust the officers around you, as you have trusted each other before, and as that trust has always been repaid. Do you have any questions? If any of you have anything which you wish to say to be recorded in the mission log, I will make sure of it. In which case, we have work to do.
Arcady returns to the table, like clearly still quite shaken by all of this, because distinctly Arcady is not a soldier and had no part in the Dominion War, so this is all very fresh. Arcady made the captain a cup of coffee anyway, and a mug of tea for Strange, and a milkshake for Vance, and an iced tea for Zal with ice in it, and a milk for Casey, and just has gone around and made drinks for everyone, and then just sits there with a glass of alcohol-free rosé. Just
he's looking at the milk.
It's like, I asked for a fucking tea.
Yeah, he's going to place an order and didn't get what he wanted.
Strange tries to kind of discreetly swap the cups, given that Strange has been given a mug of tea.
Awkward drinks etiquette follows with a lot of sympathetic looks towards us.
I'm sorry, Ensign, I forgot how old you were.
No, it's quite all right. I'm sure we have all got a lot on our mind.
Yeah, but
Captain, I assure you, I am limiting my very mild freak out to this room, and I will be quite myself when I step out again.
It's quite all right, Doctor.
I don't have this same training as you. I'm not a soldier. I'm not a military doctor.
No, so the work ahead of you becomes... There's a reason I say one step at a time. You have to prepare for the possibility to read up on the cluster, read up on the technology, and anticipate what condition we may find the crew in, and prepare for potentially an emergency evacuation of a crew to accommodate them and to attend to their needs. It is simple planning and focus on these things that we can control.
Captain, I have a question that has only occurred to me now that I am sat with my wine. We have permission as officers to have this information.
Mm-hmm.
We are obviously therefore not allowed to disseminate it to our teams, but obviously as the mission unfolds they will learn things, and we will all be sworn to secrecy under the sacred oath of Starfleet and that. But what about Dr. Light?
Dr. Light can be... At present, frankly, my preoccupation is not the containment of information. My preoccupation is the success of this mission. On the return, all manner of briefings, security procedures can be done. So, frankly, inform your members of your team what they actually need to know.
I will, Captain.
When it comes to Dr. Light, just as the ship's computer data banks will be made secure, Dr. Light will be made secure.
Yes, he is my primary research assistant. So briefing him as soon as possible would help me prepare for what is going to happen. Since he is not only an emergency, he is beyond an emergency medical hologram. Yes. He is a repository of all medical information in Starfleet, in the Federation. If I could upload the files that we have about the Dominion and their medical situation, about the cluster, it might well be that he can help me synthesize. I'm talking...
Yes, Doctor, you're right. Do all of these things that you need to do. Let myself and the Admiral right now worry about containing this information so it can't get out. Right now, we're in the middle of the Gamma Quadrant and there's nobody we can tell. Worry about that when we're back, alive, around people we can tell. For now, the job, the crew, the mission.
That's phenomenal Foley work.
That was the most amazing punctuation that scene. That was everything the episode needed.
I need you all to know I timed it. I need you all to know that was deliberate. I need praise.
I believe it.
Yes, you do.
10,000 praise.
So I think we will zoom out on the Iskandar at warp in the Gamma Quadrant, and I think as we pan back, we will see this strange region of space in the distance crackling with odd energies as the Iskandar approaches, and it goes into a strange and dangerous place.
Although I know one thing which Athard is going to be reading, where there may be the briefest shot of her bringing up her reading material at her desk of the Omega Directive.
So genuinely, I was thinking that, and then I was like, "Well, Talandra doesn't even know about it, so she can't ask."
I think what we see is we get the fan service moment over the shoulder of you with a pad with a big Omega symbol on it. Then the camera keeps going, and you see pads with other symbols on.
Yeah, there's all sorts of things.
Oh, the Omega isn't the only one.
Yeah.
Oh, this could be something far worse. We'll find out.
I have a very serious question then. What is the Mu Directive?
The Mu Directive is where the psychic cat shows up and starts raising hell. Do we do this weekly or fortnightly? I think I asked this before.
Weekly.
We do.
Well, you say that so indignantly. Like, I'm down for weekly, but your campaign was the only one which we did weekly, is he?
True.
Yeah. I'm
Is
good.
everyone free next week? We shouldn't be doing this bit in front of everyone, but we're going to. Is everyone free?
Oh, it's good. We're lifting the curtain.
Good, yes.
Yeah.
In which
Behold, behind the scenes.
behind the scenes, there's a peek behind the curtain. This is what the patrons pay for.
I was wearing a Quarks t-shirt all along.
I was wearing a Doctor Who shirt all along.
Quarks, and all I got was this lousy replicated T-shirt, which I had to pay for on credit.
I had to sell my communicator badge for this lousy T-shirt.
Yeah. Quark takes pity on people who get conned, and he gives them, ads for
T-shirts
to wear as they go about. So we'll be back a week.
Anyway, we'll be back.
Trash Fam, and that'll be great. In the meantime, you should definitely follow this channel if you don't already, because it hosts all sorts of excellent streamers, some of whom are lurking in the chat this very moment. People like Sunny Kitty and Pretty Ideal and Sable Whisper, the mysterious handsome horse gentleman. And they do all sorts of things. And you should also subscribe to the channel, or you should sign up to the Trash Cruise Patreon for perks like early art and all sorts of announcements, early publication of things like podcasts and stuff like that. I don't know, but you get lots of really, really great stuff. And yeah, you should have a really great week, everyone. Just have a fantastic week. Have a better week than Ensign Samuel Casey, who I think might have had a faintly boring time in good company in fake Paris without his comm badge, and have a much better time than Captain Nathan, who's just been told that one of the core values of Starfleet has been rescinded for the duration of a very, very shady mission.
And while we are here, let's throw some trash bags up for our patrons. Did you see how smooth that was? Did you see that was me trying desperately to log into the Patreon because it didn't want to accept the password? And I was like, keep talking, Sable. Keep talking. I've got it. And then, of course, I had to draw attention to my cleverness because that's just the sucker I am.
Smooth.
So we are incredibly grateful to those of you who back us on patreon.com/itucrew. And I can assure you there is a lot of cool benefits to being a backer, including, as Sable said, this exciting art that you see all around us was all not a surprise at all, but an old hat to the people who follow us on Patreon. And so, please, before I throw up affection to all the people that back us, if you are interested in backing us, then please go take a look. Even $1 a month is a supreme gesture of loveliness. But if you can't, do not feel guilt in your heart, because money is just money. The thing that makes us supremely happy is if you are on Twitter, if you are on Facebook, if you are on Discord, and you enjoyed this stream or enjoyed the art or just enjoyed any of our various hairstyles, then please feel free to tell us on social media. We are at ItchuCrew. I am at Praxis Descends, and the others just shout into a hole in your garden. MW Kilburn. That's Mike.
We're in your garden.
Yes, or go to your garden where we lurk nightly, and of course at Sable Whisper. So yes, just telling us about things you've enjoyed brings us so much joy. I can't even explain. We are all big nerds of this game and of this setting, and we love talking about it. Anyway, get your trash bags ready. Enough of that. Please throw up some love for In No Particular Order. Oh no, I've just realized, Dre, I don't know how to pronounce your surname. I've only ever seen it written down, and now I'm stuck looking at a friend, my dear friend, who I've known many years, and going, how do I pronounce his surname? I should have prepared for this. So, in the chat, you call him A Hyperion, and he's my buddy Dre. So thanks to him, extra thanks to him. Send him more thanks. Send him 10,000 roses. Anyway, Lucas Justinian, Joanna Marsh, Diego de los Reyes, Henry Prestige, Red Fox, Hobbs138, Amy C, Joe, Caffeine Kitty, Araloki, Socky, Mike Kilburn, James Malloy, Dr. Lou Sutcliffe, Mike Fielding, aka Interiority, aka the president of the Hinder Kinder, Michael Bowman, and of course, everybody's favoritely named member of the Trash Fam extended family, Helena Handbasket, which is magnificent. And I promise by next week I will not only have learned how to pronounce my buddy Andre's surname, but I will do it in song. So for that and much more, the next time you'll see us is next week. If you wish to see Sable Whisper again before then, not with these magnificent faces, I believe he is streaming this Thursday?
7 p.m. GMT.